So about a week ago, we made a video talking about how the critics are wrong for Batman versus Superman, and now this is the promised full analysis of Batman versus Superman. So after talking about all of the mainstream points, I have had an incredibly long running time of about 35 minutes, so we are going to be forced to release these videos as a series because I don't think anybody wants to sit there for 35 minutes and it would take forever to edit that video all at once. So basically what we're going to do is this first video is going to take some of the front page critical reviews and address them, and then we will take the common occurring concepts about Batman versus Superman and discuss whether they have merit throughout this video series. So please consider subscribing so it's easy for you to be notified when the next part of this very complete Batman versus Superman analysis is uploaded. So the first review I want to talk about is Jason Bailey for Flavor Wire, where he wrote probably the most negative review that I can find on the Rotten Tomatoes front page of critical reviews. So to basically sum it up, it seems like he absolutely hated this movie with a passion. One of the things he specifically says is apparently of the same world as the Nolan trilogy, which is very interesting because there are no announcements that I'm aware of that say anything about Batman continuing from the Nolan trilogy or this universe having anything to do with that. In Nolan's universe, Batman very clearly never killed anybody. They made it a very clear point, and they regularly discussed that throughout the entire Dark Knight when the Joker was telling Batman that he's going to make him break his one rule. So it was pretty obvious that the Batman in Nolan would be very different than the Batman in Zack Snyder's world, where he obviously kills and doesn't mind killing people, even going so far as to stab them in the chest and shoot them. So there's really zero evidence that this Batman has anything to do with the Nolan trilogy. There's also far too much passage of time. If you actually pay close attention, a lot of time passes between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and then even more time passes between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. He's only supposed to be 40 years old in Batman vs. Superman, and he would be way too old if we actually stayed with that storyline. So I'm not really sure where he's getting this Nolan trilogy stuff, but the fact that your review has something that is not only an opinion, but factually wrong is not a very good foot to start off on. I don't know what he means by saying the world Nolan created, considering, once again, there's nothing consistent with Nolan's universe, and it's not even like Christopher Nolan was the first person to make Batman movies. I mean, that would have been Tim Burton a long, long time ago. So I really don't know what Flavor Wire is even talking about. I just felt like discussing this review because it is so ridiculously negative and just so happens to be one of the very first ones you see when you look up Batman vs. Superman. So obviously we have a lot of reviews that are very negative, and to be honest, I don't even know if they are factually accurate. I feel like some of these critiques, like it being in the Nolan universe, the monster not even being hinted at until it shows up, are factually incorrect. And if you're writing reviews that can't even kind of follow what happened in the movie, then why are you writing reviews in the first place? Another review, 7 Days, complains that there is no humanizing drama, and they quote, "Snyder seems to have left those humanizing connections behind. Superman has an inner conflict of missing the bomb at his hearing. He feels guilty for this negligence, and he has a moral conflict completely stemming from Lex bombing the Senate hearing. This is a good example of a scene where we build and we humanize Superman. Bruce Wayne is jaded, and he has multiple conversations throughout the movie with Alfred and with others about how he views crime and how he now thinks that crime needs to be answered with violence. A lot of these concepts are very, very emotionally based. Superman has a lot of issues deciding if he should even be helping the human race. Batman doesn't know if he should trust Superman. Batman is really demoralized. He feels like his career of fighting crime has not been fruitful. He's trying to find a way to leave a legacy. It's not as though these characters are flat. It's not like we say this is Batman and this is Superman and they simply start fighting. A good portion of this film is spent explaining the thought process, explaining the morals, and explaining the goals of these two characters. Philosophy tends to take precedence because Superman's dynamic naturally requires it. Superman represents almost absolute power, so naturally, he's going to be seen as a god. He's going to raise a lot of questions throughout the human race. This is all very, very deep, especially for a comic book movie, a movie about superheroes. These are concepts that you don't see in 90% of other superhero movies. So I really don't understand people complaining about a lack of depth in probably one of the deeper superhero movies. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button so we can make more of them.